Vinegar in the household sounds old-fashioned. Just wait, these 42 hacks from Grandma's times save you money, time, and chemicals. And you definitely haven't tried all of them yet. If you want to discover more simple, genius household hacks like these, subscribe to our channel and do it like Grandma. Clever, sustainable, and effective. Have fun watching. All-purpose cleaner with vinegar. Grandma's house often smelled like vinegar, and that was a good sign, because this simple drop in a glass of water was her magic hack for almost everything. It dissolved grease in the kitchen, wiped away limescale from the bathroom, and banished odors before they could linger. A cloth, a splash, and even dull tiles shone like new again. Whoever wiped the table with it suddenly felt a bit tidier. It wasn't just clean, it was thorough, honest, homemade, and it worked. Remove limescale. Limescale wasn't a drama back then, just everyday life, and Grandma had the perfect remedy. A cloth soaked in vinegar, wrapped around the faucet. Wait one night, and the metal shone like new again. The shower head went into the bowl too, bubbling quietly until every hole was clear. The vinegar ate through the limescale without scratching, without stinking, just with a bottle of vinegar, a bit of patience, and clean water that could flow again. Clean windows streak-free. Grandma didn't need glass cleaner with mountain breeze scent. She took vinegar, warm water, and a crumpled piece of newspaper. With that, she wiped the window panes as if polishing memories. Even stubborn dirt from the stovepipe gave up. The hack wasn't in the shine, but in the feeling. When the sun streamed into the room unhindered again, the day seemed brighter too. And you thought, clarity can be that simple. A splash of vinegar, a bit of effort, and you see clearly again. Neutralize odors. When Grandma's house smelled like roast but the scent just wouldn't fade, she silently placed a bowl of vinegar on the kitchen table. The next morning, nothing left. No onion breath, no roasting fumes, just clear air. Vinegar absorbs what bothers. In the fridge, in the trash can, even in old sneakers. It drives away the mustiness without covering anything up. Quiet, thorough, reliable, just like things used to be. And suddenly the home isn't just clean, it smells like it too, without air freshener, just with common sense. Clean drains. When the dishwater didn't drain properly back then, Grandma didn't curse, she acted. First came the baking soda, then the vinegar. It hissed, it bubbled, and the drain was clear again. This mix of acid and powder worked like a small explosion in the hidden spots. Grease, soap residues, even the stink from the siphon were defeated. A cup of boiling water afterward, and everything flowed again. Quiet, thorough, as if by a secret hand. Descale dishwasher. The dishwasher wasn't a miracle machine for Grandma, but a tool, and tools have to work. When it smelled musty or didn't clean properly anymore, vinegar came into play. A cup in the empty interior, a hot cycle, and the lime scale was gone. The nozzles clear, the water pure, the glass shining again. No special cleaner with high shine promises needed. Just a home remedy that does its job. Quiet, thorough, enduring. Whoever experiences that understands. Care starts not with advertising, but with common sense. Polish silver cutlery. When Grandma's silver cutlery tarnished, she didn't grab a polishing cloth. She laid aluminum foil in a bowl, sprinkled salt, poured vinegar over it, and added hot water. Then the cutlery went in. It hissed quietly, as if time were rewinding. After a few minutes, the veil was gone, the silver alive again. No scrubbing, no polish. Just a reaction that makes the old new again. And whoever sets the table like that does so with respect, for the material, for the memory, and for the eye. Disinfect refrigerator. In the fridge back then, nothing smelled like plastic wrap or forgotten sausage. When Grandma emptied it, her cloth with pure vinegar came into action. Once through the compartments, over the glass shelves, into every corner of the seals. The smell was strong, but honest. And afterward, everything was clean. Really clean. Bacteria disappeared. Odors along with them. Whoever has done that knows. Hygiene doesn't start in the lab, but with an old cloth and a clear view. Clean microwave. When Grandma's microwave got sticky, she didn't scrub. She simply placed a bowl with vinegar and water inside, let it steam, waited a bit, and then wiped everything clean. The crust loosened, the odor vanished, the appliance was like new. Even the turntable shone again, as if company was coming. And that was Grandma's secret. She didn't make things look like hard work when they could be solved with cleverness. Vinegar, silent hero of the kitchen. Scrub oven. When the roast chicken left traces in the oven, Grandma didn't reach for the chemical club. She sprinkled baking soda on the crusts, drizzled some vinegar over it, and let the mixture work. It foamed quietly, as if the oven itself were breathing a sigh of relief. After half an hour, she wiped the dirt away easily. The oven was ready for the next Sunday roast, and you felt, this isn't cleaning, this is caring, with respect for what remains. Replace fabric softener. Grandma got her laundry soft without a pink heart-shaped bottle. She poured a splash of vinegar into the rinse compartment, and the miracle began. The towels came out fluffy, the colors stayed clear, the scent, neutral, clean, honest. No perfume cloud, but real freshness. Even old rags suddenly felt like new, and the washing machine got descaled in the process. So every wash was a small service to fabric and machine, unobtrusive but effective, because it wasn't about smelling good, but about being really clean. Clean washing machine. Grandma's washing machine never smelled moldy, because she knew what few do today. The machine needs washing too. A hearty splash of vinegar in the drum, run empty on hot. Afterward, the porthole shone, the rubber seal was clean, the scent pure. That's how she cared for her helpers, quiet but regular, and showed, whoever loves their tools ensures they last, clean, strong, and durable. Remove sweat stains. White shirts, yellow edges, a familiar sight. But Grandma wasn't impressed. She dabbed some vinegar on the spots, let it soak in, washed the shirt, and the result was impressive. Sometimes a bit of baking soda was added, and the fabric became clear again. The fibers were spared, the odor gone. Whoever handles clothes like that doesn't think about throwing away, but preserving, and understands. Stains tell stories, but vinegar writes the better ending. Color fixer for new clothes. When a new piece of clothing came into Grandma's house, it didn't go straight into the laundry. First came the vinegar bath, a bucket of water, a good splash of vinegar, then the fabric rested in it. The color set, stayed vibrant, didn't bleed. So the blue kept its shine, the red its depth. Nothing discolored, nothing faded. Whoever prepares like that preserves not just color, but joy too, and shows that care often starts before the first wear, with a simple, clever move. Odor neutralization for musty laundry. When laundry smelled moldy, Grandma didn't buy new. She soaked it. Warm water, a decent splash of vinegar, then the towels bathed. The mustiness vanished as if it never existed. No scent fog, but real freshness. Fiber deep clean, not covered, but freed. That's how she brought even old basement laundry back to life. Whoever handles fabrics like that recognizes their value and feels odor isn't punishment, but a sign. And vinegar, the answer. Quiet, thorough, reliable like a good home remedy must be. Remove gray veil from laundry. When white suddenly turned gray, Grandma didn't sigh, she acted. A bucket of warm water, a decent splash of vinegar, the laundry in, and rest. Overnight, the veil pulled out of the fabric, quiet but thorough. In the morning, the towel looked like a towel again, not a rag. The bed linen seemed fresher, the linen brighter, without bleach, without frustration. Whoever washes like that loses no color, but gains clarity, and shows. Old fabrics deserve a second chance, with vinegar and patience. Reduce pet hair in laundry. When the cat slept on the sofa, the shirt was furry afterward. But Grandma knew the hack. A splash of vinegar in the fabric softener compartment, and during washing, the hairs lost their grip. The fibers stayed smooth, the charge dissipated, the fabric suddenly felt free. No more sticking, no picking, no constant rolling. Just out of the machine, shake lightly. Done. Whoever loves animals and appreciates clothes will understand, because even hares learn to let go when vinegar politely asks them to. Foot bath, against odor and calluses. After a long day, Grandma set a bowl of warm water on the floor, poured a decent splash of vinegar in, and let her feet rest in it. The scent was honest, the effect direct. Calluses softened, odor vanished, fatigue sank into the water. Then cream, wool socks over, care was done. She didn't need drugstore products for that, just warmth, acid, and rest. And the insight that real care starts quietly with a move that works and a home remedy that delivers what it promises. Soothe sunburn. When the sun took more than it gave, Grandma didn't reach for the tube, but for vinegar, a soft cloth soaked in cool mixture, laid on the skin. The burning subsided, the tightness disappeared, the skin calmed, like after a long argument. The body breathed a sigh of relief. Whoever has felt that understands, relief doesn't need to smear, but to work, and vinegar does just that. Quiet, direct, deep. Like good advice that doesn't get loud, but stays. Neutralize sweat odor. Grandma never smelled like perfume, but like freshly washed cotton and clarity. When summer got under the arms, she took a cloth soaked in diluted vinegar and wiped herself. The odor vanished before it could form. No scent cloud, but clean skin. Bacteria had no chance, and the shirt stayed fresh until evening. Whoever tries that notices quickly. The body wants to breathe, not be covered. And vinegar helps it quiet, effective without drama, just effect, no stage. Treat. Warts weren't lasered away at Grandma's, but worked away. With patience, a drop of vinegar, and a plaster. Every evening, she soaked a piece of cotton, laid it on the spot, taped it, and let it work overnight. Bit by bit, the thing retreated until it simply disappeared. The skin recovered, clean and calm. Whoever knows that knows. Healing needs time, no violence. And sometimes a home remedy that's consistent when we are too. Soothe insect bites. A sting, an itch, a curse, and Grandma reached for the bottle. No spray, no cooling gel, but a simple splash of vinegar on a cloth. Pressed briefly, hissed quietly, the irritation vanished. The skin cooled, the urge to scratch disappeared. She said, "The vinegar pulls it out," and she was right. Mosquito, horsefly, wasp all lost against this silent helper. Whoever has experienced that won't forget, because true relief needs no label, but effect, and sometimes just a well-soaked cotton ball. Face toner against pimples. When a pimple hinted over the weekend, Grandma didn't get a miracle product from the drugstore. She took a bit of apple cider vinegar, diluted it with water, and dabbed the mixture carefully on the skin. Nothing foamed, nothing tightened. But something changed. The redness receded, the shine vanished, the face looked clearer. It was almost as if the vinegar talked to the skin, not against it. Gentle, but firm. And again it showed. Some things need no show, but the right acid at the right time. Combat bad breath. Grandma said, "What stinks gets rinsed." A spoon of vinegar in warm water, plus a vigorous gargle, and the breath was fresh again. Not like mint, but like clarity. The vinegar reached what no candies could. It disrupted the bacteria's game, pulled the rug out from under them. Especially in the morning, after garlic or long talks at the kitchen table. That was her quiet remedy. Whoever rinses like that cleans not just the mouth, but creates air for words that are gladly heard. Reduce dandruff. When the scalp flaked, itched, and tightened, Grandma knew long ago what was missing. A bit of apple cider vinegar mixed with water, gently massaged in, then rest. The skin relaxed, the itch vanished, the hair suddenly shone like freshly fetched from the stream. The vinegar cleared up, quiet and thorough. Old cells loosened, new ones could breathe. Whoever has felt that understands. Care doesn't start with the hairstyle, but at the root, and smells a bit like the old days. Cook eggs without cracking. When cooking eggs, Grandma left nothing to chance. She added a splash of vinegar to the water, as if it had always been that way. And lo and behold, even if the shell cracked, the egg stayed in shape. The egg white set quickly, the yolk stayed tender. Whoever cooks like that understands the difference between cooking and knowing, because sometimes a spoon of vinegar decides the breakfast, and the good feeling that everything stays where it belongs. Make salad crispier. When the salad was tired, Grandma gave it a bath. Cold water, a splash of vinegar, a few minutes rest. And then the miracle happened. The leaves perked up, became firm, alive, like fresh from the garden. The vinegar awakened what was still there, the crisp, the green, the good. Whoever prepares like that throws nothing away, but saves flavor, and shows that even wilted things can shine if given the right mix. Make cheese last longer. Cheese was sacred to Grandma, and it never went naked into the fridge. She wrapped it in a vinegar-soaked cloth, just moist enough to preserve it. It stayed fresh for days, without rind, without veil. The vinegar kept quiet watch, without fuss. Whoever has tried that understands. Shelf life isn't chance, but care. And a good piece of cheese deserves more than plastic wrap. It deserves attention and a cloth that thinks along. Like in the old days, clean fruits and vegetables. Back then, when Grandma came from the market, the kitchen smelled like earth and ripe harvest. But before the salad went into the bowl, it first went into the vinegar bath. A good splash in a bowl of water, a few minutes patience, and bacteria, pesticides, and wax were gone. The difference was noticeable. The cucumbers crisper, the strawberries purer, the apple like fresh from the tree. A simple gesture with big effect. Almost forgotten today, completely natural back then. Vinegar, Grandma's invisible protective layer for every piece of nature. Descale teapot. When the teapot got dull back then, Grandma didn't grab a brush, but vinegar, a small splash, hot water on top, some patience, and the lime scale dissolved on its own. Inside it started shining again. The tea tasted soft and clear again. The vinegar cleaned quietly, without rubbing. Whoever knows that feels it in the first sip. Because a clean pot gives more than just tea. It preserves the ritual. Make fresh flowers last longer. When lilacs stood on the table, Grandma wanted them to stay. Not just one day, but many. She added a spoon of vinegar to the vase water, plus sugar. A simple mix that worked. The stems drank better. The colors held like freshly picked. No scent lost, no bloom fell early. Even in high summer, her bouquets stayed proud. It was almost as if she wanted to snatch a bit of time from the perishable, with vinegar, and a quiet promise to beauty. Make buttermilk yourself. When there was no buttermilk, Grandma simply made it herself. With a spoon of vinegar in a glass of milk, the milk became thickish, slightly sour, just right for pancakes, batter, or a summer drink in the afternoon. The dough became fluffier, the bread juicier, and whoever drank it pure felt how cooling it stroked the belly. From little became something special, quiet, simple, clever. That's how every day tasted back then, down to earth and full of small wonders. Prepare pickling brine. When the vegetables were ripe, Grandma didn't think of throwing away, but of pickling. Jars steamed, vinegar scented, dill and mustard seeds danced in the hot brine. Cucumbers, beans, carrots, every piece went into the jar, crisp and colorful, ready for winter. The vinegar preserved, but it did more. It refined. What was plain before became spicy, bite firm, alive. And when you opened a jar months later, you tasted summer. Pickled meant preserved, and preserved meant not forgotten. It was that simple. Kill weeds. Grandma had no poison canister in the shed. She had vinegar in the bottle. When weeds sprouted between the paving stones, she went out early morning, sprayed, targeted, and waited. One day of sun, and the green collapsed. Without chemicals, without noise, just with knowledge. The vinegar drew the water from the weeds' veins. What remained was stone, clean, quiet, tidy. Whoever has seen that understands why it works, and why some old things are better than modern stuff. Neutralize cat odor. When Cat Moritz marked off target, Grandma stayed calm. She grabbed vinegar, mixed it with water, and quietly wiped the spot. The odor vanished, the carpet stayed, and Moritz didn't return. The vinegar took the sharpness from the urine, erased the trace like chalk in rain. Whoever had animals knew this hack. Simple, effective, odorless. Not cover up, but neutralize. That's how the house became not just clean, but peaceful. And the nose could breathe, for good. Repel ants. When small ant trails marched through the living room in summer, Grandma took her spray bottle. No poison, just vinegar with water. Sprayed once along the baseboards, and the column turned around. The sharp scent broke their trail like an eraser on paper. The critters vanished as quietly as they came, and whoever looked closely saw, not just the ants retreated, the annoyance too. With vinegar, you protected the home. Simple, effective, unfazed. Remove dog odor from blankets. When the dog came in from the rain and snuggled into the blanket, the whole living room smelled like it. But Grandma knew what to do. A splash of vinegar in the fabric softener compartment. The machine hummed, and the blanket came out fresh, soft, and odor neutral. The typical pet smell was gone, not covered, but vanished. Vinegar worked deep in the fibers, where detergent often didn't reach. And suddenly, everything was clean, quiet, and familiar again. That's how it smelled like home again, not like dog. Keep snails away from beds. When the salad was nibbled in the morning, Grandma didn't huff long. She soaked a cloth with vinegar water and laid it around the bed. The snails came, smelled, turned. The sharp scent cut through their slime trail, as if someone blocked the road. No poison needed, and nothing landed in the bucket. The effect was in the scent. Quiet, but effective. That's how the plants stayed whole, and the snails found another dinner. A hack that outdid everything later in the garden center. Clean plant pots. Before Grandma planted new flowers, the old pots had to go through the vinegar wash. The pots bathed in a water-vinegar mix, were scrubbed, rinsed, dried. Afterward, they smelled neutral and looked like freshly bought. The vinegar cleaned pore deep and ended everything that didn't belong. That's how every planting year started clean, prepared, full of hope, and with the good feeling that old stuff didn't stand in the way. Remove bird droppings from paint. When the sparrow aimed at the car roof, Grandpa didn't reach for chemicals, but the home remedy, a cloth soaked in vinegar water, gently laid on the spot. After minutes, the bird dropping loosened as if it had never been there. The paint stayed intact. The car shone on. Grandpa knew how aggressive such a blob could be, and how easily you diffuse it before it causes damage. Quiet, clean, effective like so much back then. Clean eyeglass frames. Grandpa often sat at the kitchen table, glasses on the tip of his nose, cloth in hand. Not just any cloth, a soft one soaked in lukewarm vinegar water. With that, he carefully went over the arms and nose pads, turned the hinges, dabbed even the smallest corner. Afterward, the frame shone as if new. No grease film, no odor, no gray veil anymore. The glasses felt like a tool again, not a foreign body. And that was his goal. See clearly, think clearly. Descale humidifier. When the air scratched in winter and breathing was dry, Grandma's humidifier ran. And when it started huffing, vinegar came into play. No technician needed, no spare parts either. Just some vinegar water in the tank, some patience, and thorough rinsing. Afterward, the device hummed quietly again, as if nothing happened. The air became softer, breathing easier, and no veil on the furniture. A simple move with big effect, just like back then. And if you're smiling, thinking of Grandma or Grandpa now, then it was just right. Old hacks, newly discovered, simple, effective, timeless. If you want more of that, leave a sub and click the bell, because in the next video, we'll pull even more forgotten home remedies from the pantry. And believe me, there's still a lot you wouldn't have expected.